This is the 40 Days for Life podcast with your host, Sean Carney.
Hello, and thank you for joining us today on the 40 Days for Life podcast. I'm Sean Carney, the president of 40 Days for Life, and your host for this podcast, which is dedicated to helping you end abortion where you live, the population crisis, particularly in the United States, how it affects marriage and children, and we're just full of bad news today on the 40 Days for Life podcast. America was once a great place, but due to the fertility crisis, it's going to go away. So soak it up while you can. And somebody who definitely has spent most of his life soaking up the joys of life, legal and illegally, is Mr. Steve Garland.
And the favorite category of questionable legality.
Questionable legality. We are also delightfully joined by Ramona Trevino. Good to see you.
Good to be back.
Excellent, excellent. This is a wonderful topic, a two-part series, correct?
Yes.
This is part one on marriage and fertility. We are going to break it down. You hear a lot of scare tactics. We will confirm some of those. And you also hardly hear any hope, and we will definitely share that. But the fertility crisis is real. But there is another crisis that we need to address, and we officially need the listeners' help on this. This is all personal. This has nothing to do with the mission of 40 Days for Life. This has nothing to do with the future of 40 Days for Life, but it does have something to do with being pro-life and being friends with me and Steve. And that is, we have reached a crisis because for years, let's give a little history, okay? So you came to work here on October 22nd, 2012.
Wow, that's committed to your memory.
I don't forget dates.
I feel valued.
You are valued, and I appreciate that. But the problem with saying stuff like that is, like, Mary Lisa's going to listen to this, and she's like, you didn't remember to buy, like, spice seasoning at the store or milk or something. So anyways, but I do remember that. So you were, I don't know how it was, you were on a board or some kind of committee, but you were helping a Catholic school. Okay?
Yes.
In 2015.
Yes.
Okay, I'm giving a full history.
Yeah.
So
my kid's school.
I went up and spoke for free and to help launch this school and did their fundraising. It was a lot of fun, and a wonderful gentleman, out of gratitude, and I'm extremely grateful to this day. It was one of the greatest experiences of my life. He gave us his tickets to the Cowboys-Packer game at Lambeau in December, which y'all randomly had a warm front, so it was only like 55 degrees. But it was awesome. I mean, these were 14 rows up. I mean, you could hear Aaron Rodgers, like, talking about stuff.
Yes.
So it was awesome. Steve and I had a great time. We'll put the photos up if you want to see Steve and a cheese head. We're at the Cowboys
And
game.
who wouldn't?
Oh, it's in my cell phone when you call, it's you and a cheese head holding a beer. It's always something serious, but it doesn't start out that way when I answer. So this was this glorious moment. And because of the way the NFL schedule happens, that was 2015. So we're now 11 years later. Once again, now they're actually both really good and competitive, supposed to be this year. The Cowboys are going to Lambeau.
Yes.
And through all of your connections and your own tickets and everything, you have come up with nothing.
So far.
I'm trying to bring my son, who will be a senior. He doesn't know it, and he won't listen to this podcast because it's summer. So this will be like his senior gift of, like, we're going to Lambeau. He will freak out. And we're trying. So we are lobbying the 40 Days for Life listeners to try to send Steve and I to the Cowboy-Packer game. This is called abuse of one's position in life.
Well, I mean, we can make it. I have some tickets. We were very disappointed that I didn't have this game, but we will.
And that's the way it works. I understand. And you said that. You were like, if we get the game, this is happening. And then you just, in your package, the Cowboy-Packer game was not one of those.
But that gives me a position of leverage that we can buy, trade, or barter for tickets.
Right.
So it's not like we won't bring anything to the table.
And as we talk about the fertility crisis, I've offered to trade a few of my younger children to a ticket holder in exchange for some tickets. Why is that?
Because I knew that's where you were going with
Wisconsin
that.
needs kids too. I mean, I have 8. I'm trying to share. So
Population crisis is universal.
Timothy's definitely on the trading block. he's doing well in kindergarten, but he's still, he's complaining about stuff, and so he's sad that the older kids are moving out. So we'll just ship them up. Maybe gets a family with like some younger siblings. And so yeah, whatever it takes, we're going to try to make it happen. And if it doesn't happen, it just means that we tried.
We gave it the old college try, yeah.
But if you look at the photo, so that is December. We'll put that on the screen. That's December of 2015. It was such a remarkable experience. So how many kids did you have at the time?
We just had number 3.
You just had number 3, and I had just had number 5. Declan was less than a year old. Totally responsible, me leaving Mary Lisa, to deal with all the little kids while I went to a Packer game. But apparently the Packers allow everyone to tailgate. Mm-hmm. You don't need like a permit like other teams. And so we went to a grocery store before. We're just walking around throwing brats and cheese and everything in the buggy. And I think, it's Wisconsin. The stereotypes are true. They're going to have like a little bit more cheese selection than we would have in Texas. And it's overwhelming. It's like half the store. And it was this huge circular thing. And it just kept going. You wouldn't even have time to read all the different types of cheeses. And Steve's like, you want some cheese? And I'm like, you just pick out something. It's overwhelming. But it was pretty cool. It lived up to the stereotype.
Yeah, I'm always glad when we can fulfill stereotypes. I think it's a good thing. They're stereotypes for a reason, and I'd like to think we came through for you. Though, I don't want to sidetrack us too much, but I don't know how to process this yet. I brought in a 20-year cheddar cheese here to HQ for everybody in the office to sample, and I think everybody except for me thought it was gross.
Here, we need to back up. You brought 3 cheeses for us to try. And the first 2 were unbelievable. They were awesome. And the third one, the aged cheddar, which I think people like to say aged cheddar.
Yes.
I feel important. I know.
I have many leather-bound books.
Exactly. It was awesome until the aftertaste.
Okay.
It was like, this is awesome. Ah! And it got you.
It's all part of the experience, Russ.
It was kind of like, and he's going to go back and be like, wussy Texans, they brag about their salsa.
I already texted my buddies.
Spicy food, and they can't handle our 20-year-old cheese, So it was right. You got me.
It was, I had stepped out of the lunchroom or whatever you call it to go invite our IT guys to sample the cheese. I don't know whether they did, but while I was out, I suddenly heard,
That's funny. See, we didn't do that. I was trying to make it work, and then I went in for a second piece. And again, man, that first 25 seconds is amazing, and then that last 15, it was a punishment.
Maybe it's an acquired taste.
It probably is an acquired.
I have not tried it yet. We'll see how it goes.
Well, yeah, and so we're a little biased. But what you need to do,
don't tell me what I'm trying. Just let me try. You know what I mean?
You need to just try it, and then you just need to lie. Because then you'll be the only one here that liked it.
Okay.
And then when Steve leaves, you're like,
that was horrible.
That was terrible.
Heather said that she liked it, and then she said, I think it would be good with a cracker, which made me realize she did not really like it.
No, she was lying. Now that she's no longer in the building, I could tell. She was lying because she was grateful. And she brings homemade peanut butter, whatever those are, that are amazing. And so everybody and their dog loves those. And so she felt like, okay, Steve actually brought something. Everybody loves when Ramona brings tamales.
Yes.
I've brought nothing. I need to do something, get it together.
You do.
But she felt obliged to like her cheese.
Yeah, I knew with the cracker comment and when people say something like the high voice, like, I liked it.
It was good. Yeah, it's like when Seinfeld says if you state what the gift is, you don't like it. You just open the gift and you're like, then you like it. But if you're like, tube socks, then you don't like it.
So is the idea with the cheese is that if it's good cheese, you don't need a cracker? It's good all on its own?
It was just that she was adding a qualifier to it. Do I think it would be good with a cracker? Yes. Do I think it was good without a cracker? Yes. But I think it was sort of like, I need something to dilute the intensity of this.
What a few of people that were eating this came to the conclusion of is that it needed a pairing. And the pairing, when you eat cheese that strong and it's awesome, and then you feel like, okay, this is it's like you surf a wave and then it pounds you into the ground. That needed wine.
But we couldn't drink while recording.
We don't have any wine in the HQ. What kind of place is this, anyways?
I mean, this could be an interesting experiment with the podcast.
We were eating lunch, and then it was like, we need a bottle of Cabernet. Nobody has any. Okay. Throw the cheese out.
I don't know. I'm going to throw the flag on this a little bit because I think that cheese held up on its own. And I think that what you're doing is a classic trick of the picky eater who says, it's not the flavor, it's a texture.
No. I'm telling you, I didn't like it. I would be honest. Which is very rare because I like everything. The two things I don't like are arugula and, what's it, Gonzola cheese?
Gorgonzola?
Gorgonzola.
Oh, that's a good cheese.
Yeah. Those are the arugula and that are the only two things I like. Everything else, healthy, unhealthy, I like it, except for the cheese that you brought.
I'm going to let you off the hook a little bit here because I have something that I am very ashamed to admit, which is I don't like the French cheeses.
This is like some big announcement. You don't like French cheeses?
Yeah.
Okay. What is a French cheese?
Like brie.
Ew, yeah, I don't like brie.
I don't know anybody who doesn't like brie.
I don't like brie.
When we went to France, we got some kind of nice French cheese. I don't know what it was called, but it was one of those soft cheeses like brie. And we did the Heather thing. Like, we all tasted like, you like it? Yeah! And then we realized that we thought it was disgusting. And then we did the worst sin I've ever committed in my life was we got to our hotel and we just threw the rest of it in the trash can in the public area.
I don't think you can say that on the podcast. Do you like goat cheese?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. You like goat cheese?
I think so.
It's real creamy.
Probably.
Okay, we'll go for it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something Texan and redneck that I did yesterday that our friend Ramona is going to appreciate. To get the stinky cheese out of the taste out of my mouth. They brought in Mexican food yesterday, so I grabbed a chip and went in for some queso,
yep.
and I got the real cheese in there and got Steve's fancy cheese out. And that was when it was like, the roots run deep, baby.
Yes.
I'm going to be the Wisconsin version of Will Smith here and say, keep my cheese out of your mouth.
Yeah, that was it was so offensive, and I didn't care. I was like, we'll take care of this aftertaste, some queso. Oh, man.
Well, now you got to try it, Ramona.
Yeah.
Yes,
No escape.
yes. I don't know if I'm looking forward to it or I'm a little frightened.
If not the
haven't
Merlot
decided yet.
cheese, everybody seemed to find.
The bottom line.
There was some common ground there somewhere.
The bottom line is that in the midst of this culture war and everything going on, we're very busy at 40 Days for Life. Steve and I need tickets to the Packer Cowboy game. And so...
Not 2, but 3.
We need 3.
Yes.
We need 3. If we get more...
Or more.
Odd numbers are hard to come
I
by,
volunteer.
so we better just go with
If
4.
we get more tickets, it just means more of our kids get to go. And so we're not taking Ramona.
Oh.
So it's not worthy. So yeah, we're going. And so this is just us being real. 40 Days for Life, but we have a very loyal listener base. We love y'all like family. You ask us what we need. This is what we're asking for, baby. This is our ultimate moment of shame. I'm interested to hear what the Green Bay leader has to say about this banter because he's either going to be really, really happy or really, really angry. And either way, I'm good with it.
Yes.
So, very good. Okay, what is not good? This is a popular topic, marriage and fertility, in both, actually only in one realm, which is we, as a culture, started about 2024 when Elon went on Joe Rogan. That's kind of the beginning of the beginning. He had mentioned it, but they're like, Elon says weird things, whatever. But they did a long he dissected, we're in this global collapse, that's going to happen economically in so many years because we didn't have enough children and there's going to be a workforce crisis and America's going to be recruiting, Africans and Latin Americans to come here because we need engineers and doctors. And he breaks this whole thing down. And then Joe Rogan gets on this kick that we're underpopulated. Okay. And nobody came out and said, that's BS. We have plenty of people. We have too many people, and went to the old school population bomb 70s and 60s myths. Those, I think, have been debunked. We've talked a lot about on the podcast that we're half the sociologists in the world, all of them are nuts, but at least half of them still think that we're underpopulated.
Which we started ringing that bell 5 years
ago.
Elon and
and it
Joe Rogan.
Sounds dumb for us because we all have a bunch of kids. So they're like, you're just justifying your whacked out family. But that's not the case. So even if we didn't have any children, this is statistical facts. And I think it's good that the crowd that says more mouths to feed are the problem, they don't really say that anymore. That's been silenced. And even when Bill Maher said that, one less person, we won't miss you, everybody was like, you're an idiot. So I think that that's good. The problem is the current reality. And it makes, to me, the immigration conversation awkward. Because we are 100, America's 2.1 to replace the current population because of tragedy. So we are hovering at 2.1 with legal and illegal immigration. Okay, think about that. We're hovering at 2.1. Germany's done. Italy's done. I think Italy's like 1.2. France is finished. And I mean finished, like we're not going to have any Italians in 100 years. Okay. And the demographic winter, as one sociologist said, if every childbearing Italian woman had 10 kids today, it would have no impact. It'd be like a small little blip. They're in such a hole. So the immigration thing is like, it's not, we're not a country that hates immigrants because we deport people who are here illegally. It's that we need to find a remedy of getting more immigrants here legally because we're 100% dependent on them to sustain our population. And at the same time, we need our own people to get married and have children.
Yes. Yeah, so we're looking at, I did some research. It's fascinating to me. There's a demographer named Lyman Stone. And to me, that sounds like your third round pick at guard from a mid-major.
Right.
Like you want that guy in
He
your
went to
lineup.
Marshall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he is a demographer. He's a Lutheran guy, but he's an objective social scientist. And he's done some research that indicates that it's not that people don't desire children anymore. He said they desire just as many children as they used to. The problem is they're not getting married, and people who don't get married are not having children. And he says this is the source of the fertility crisis. So he says if you really want to solve the fertility crisis, what you need to target first is the marriage crisis and have young people getting married again.
I'm actually surprised by that. The idea that people still want children.
Me too, and because it's a secular study, this isn't, he happens to be a Lutheran, as you said, but this isn't, he's not preaching. I don't believe that.
It's interesting. I came across this. He was on a podcast, Christopher Rufo. He's a guy who's kind of exposed a lot of woke stuff in schools. He was on the podcast, and that's the response that he and his co-host, a guy who goes by the name Lomez, they said, we don't believe it. We think people are saying in your surveys that they want as many children, but they're just not being honest either with the survey or with themselves about what they want. And Lyman Stone came through, and he had some really interesting data about people who are getting married that are having children. Now, it's not 8 like you or 5 like me, but it seemed pretty solid and convincing.
Well, that's good. I mean, obviously that's good. We'll accept that. But okay, you say you want children, that requires you have a baby. That go or get off the pot mentality applies to marriage too, where people date and they hang out and they check their watch and they see how old they are and it's like, go buy a ring. Like if she's the one, she's the one. If she's not, dump her.
Yeah.
If he's not, dump him. If he's, if you shouldn't be engaged for 3 years, right? So I think that there is kind of that taking the commitment. It's a non-committal mentality. We've always had it in our country. I don't know if I believe that Gen Z is more non-committal. That's probably not fair. We just always say that about young people. They're non-committal. But
Seems to be more the millennials, no?
Probably. I don't know. I haven't looked at the stats on that. Like how many millennials like us were getting married, at 22 or 21. I got married at 21. How old were you? You were
22.
22 versus today. I mean, we have those numbers. I think it's less.
Well, we can get into some of the numbers. Marriage in 2019 hit a 140-year low. So not great. If you look at 40-year-old Americans, a quarter of them have never been married. In 1980, that was just 6%. Now, 1980 was, and this is fascinating. Like, shout out to the boomers here who we pick on this podcast. That means boomers got married.
Boomers did get.
Part of the problem is they got divorced, and that's
That's the addendum. But the boomers, we pick on them, but they all went out into a cornfield and smoked dope and made love and all that crazy stuff, and were hippies. And I'm talking about the reverts. Then they kind of grew up and realized maybe my dad's not the worst guy in the world because he hardly talked to me, but he's still a good guy and he fought in the war. And Jimmy Carter's an idiot, and I think I'm going to become a software developer or accountant or lawyer and vote for Reagan.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. I think the boomers got it together by the time they were 30.
Sure.
They always worshipped youth. They do now.
Yes.
That's like their mantra, which is kind of fun sometimes. It produced a lot of good music.
Yeah. So they got married, though. I mean, if you go back further, in 1920, 15% of 40-year-old Americans had never been married. So the boomers are getting married at a significantly higher rate in the 70s and 80s than were people in the early part of the 20th century. So regardless, we've seen a stunning decrease. 25%, 1 in 4 Americans never married at age 40. Most conservatives, this will surprise nobody, most conservatives believe that the decline of marriage is a bad thing for society. Only 17% of liberals agree that the decline of marriage is bad for society.
That's surprising for me, for liberals. Because all of us, this is obviously the argument against gay couples adopting, all of us had a mom and dad. Mm-hmm. And nobody wishes their parents were divorced. Like, everybody knows the value of marriage from their own personal experience. So that, unless, of course, they were extremely hurt or wounded by their parents. You have.
And I think it also probably depends on the age too. I can think back when I was younger, probably late teens, early 20s, that I had wished my parents would have divorced. And then I didn't feel that way anymore after I got married. Right. And was in a sacramental marriage. And then looking back, I'm like, that's the best thing they could have ever done, was stay married.
But your opinion was the opinion of a child.
Exactly.
And then you grew up.
So when you're saying, these people have been wounded, it makes me think, for how long are they going to have that mentality?
Right.
Into their 20s, and then all of a sudden, if they go 30 into their 40s before they finally gain some wisdom.
Yeah.
At that point, it's kind of, the pool is shrinking.
Yeah.
To get married, and then also the clock is ticking to have children at that point.
Yeah.
So it's kind of late in the game to have that epiphany that marriage is good, is what I'm saying.
Well, currently, I think we have this wave of epiphanies with these people who have podcasts, or I don't listen to it, but somebody sent me an article about the Call Me Daddy girl, because she got married and she's having a baby, and she's getting all this backlash of like,
how dare you?
You were like this. Well, how dare you? And also, hey, for like 15 years, you said this marriage was evil and kids were a burden and you didn't want this. And then like you grew up and you're 35 and now you're doing this, the whole Gwen Stefani thing, who says, I just want to stay at home with my kids. I want to get married. It's late in life.
Well, she always felt that way.
She always felt that way.
Yeah. And people didn't know that.
Right.
I read an article recently about kind of her story, because I wanted to know a little bit more about her background. And so she actually, even during her time with No Doubt, she had those feelings and those desires of marriage and motherhood.
I love how you just dropped those late 90s band names.
Yeah.
No Doubt. Never.
He's walking in the spider webs.
Yes.
Walking in the spider webs.
No, not any longer.
But
I don't know what that means, but
She's not in the spider web anymore. She's married and happy. And,
Yeah.
I didn't know what spider web meant. That's a bad thing to be in the spider web?
Yes.
Steve is daily monitoring Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift to announce their first child. It takes up most of his day. So but this is a trend of older woman wanting marriage and kids. And sort of, I don't know if regret, some of them are saying I regret it, blah, blah, blah. But that is a big trend right now. And I think that the BS of live your life, be single, I just think that that's taken a big hit. I also think that the internet has been horrible for relationships, which is very well documented. And now you have all these secular colleges requiring like dating classes. It's crazy. Yeah, I just heard of another one the other day where they are requiring kids to date go on a date, just because they can't. There's a social problem, due to, it makes us sound like old men, but just due to them. We didn't have this. We didn't have iPhones when we were 12, thank God. But this is a problem.
My son just finished his freshman year, and he would go to the Catholic Center at the University of Wisconsin, same where I went to church and met Laura, started dating, ended up getting married. And they'd have their big kind of like group thing every Thursday night, like hundreds of kids in the church, and there's a talk and there's whatever else they do. And they very deliberately this year started the talk out. The first talk of the year, when they were going to have the biggest crowd, was a woman saying, men, you need to ask women out. Women, you need to say yes.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
It's very basic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And go on dates. Mm-hmm. Yeah, go on dates. It's really tragic what we're doing. And I hope that we see an uptick in the marriage decline. I don't understand the marriage decline. I sure as heck don't understand that the 140-year low was in 2019. We had a booming economy. We had no war. I guess if you're scared Trump is going to lock you up because that was the narrative. But, I mean, that's his third year. 2019. I can understand 2020 and 2021. But 2019, we didn't really have any drama. The economy was at an all-time high. The stock market was at an all-time high. We hadn't.
That was pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID, so the housing, you get a mortgage for 3.5% for 15 years. I mean, there was just nothing really wrong in 2019 that would say, you can't bring a baby into the world. So that, to me, is scary.
Yeah, for sure. And we could talk about, there's a variety of theories as to why this is taking place. Lyman Stone out of Marshall, he has a theory, and it was very surprising to me. I would not have guessed this. But he said, well, Americans overall are growing richer. Those gains aren't uniform. We've got a tax structure and incentivized long-term retirement planning that has sort of concentrated financial and economic gains among those over 40 and among women who are now more involved in the workforce than they've ever been before. So he said that young men are not keeping up with the economic gains being experienced by much of the rest of society. And he said, first and foremost, women are looking to marry a man who can provide for them and protect their children. And with young men increasingly falling behind, they're not seeing these young men as suitable partners for marriage. And so he said, if young men are really poor compared to old men, young men don't get married because they have not yet been able to send credible signals that they will be able to be what a good spouse is. And he says the ultimate sign of being able to provide and protect for a family is home ownership, which is I think we all agree, any side of the spectrum, that home ownership has gotten crazy in terms of affordability in the last couple of decades.
Well, and it's all the stupid stuff they did with COVID, which we can't get into, but you had this double whammy, which is housing skyrockets. These houses that were worth $200,000 are now like $350,000 after COVID. And then the inflation part hits and the interest rates skyrocket. So it's different if you're maybe you're spending 10 or 20 or 30 grand more than you budgeted for your house, but the interest rates are 3 or 4 or 5%. Well, then that goes away, and the increased cost of housing is matched with 7 or 8% mortgages, which we have never had. And my in-laws were like, this is life. Like, this was how it was under Carter. Like, when we bought our first house, we were like, wow, it's only 18% for our mortgage. And I'm just sitting there going, that's foreign. You know, how many houses have we bought now? 3 or 4 with all our moves. We're in the final one. It's over. But, I mean, our interest rates are all 4, 3.5, 3, 3.25. That's just normal. And now it's harder to get a house.
And you would expect the interest rates going up to have a balancing effect on the cost of homes, but that hasn't been the case. The interest rates are up and the home values are up. We got ours in 2018, and I think the value is now estimated at 80% higher than it was. So, and thanks be to God, we locked in like 2.5 5 years ago.
Awesome.
I had family that was like, hey, you need to move back home. You know, you guys should live by us. You value. It's like, I'm not walking away from a 2.5% interest.
No, it's really great. And that was our house that we're in now was 2017, and so we've been in nearly 10 years now, and it's God willing, the house we can just die in and be there forever. But it's one of those where that just matters when you're 25. If you don't think about it because you're too young and dumb in a healthy way. But when, locking in your first house and building some equity, and then later on having get a bigger house or move to a different school district, all the things that happen throughout life, it just sets you up for success. And if you're starting off with this horrible, interest rate, and I know the interest rates have come down a little bit the last 3 months with the economy, but that factors in. But that's still an excuse.
Agreed.
I mean, Mary Lisa and I lived in a dumpy $300 a month apartment when we got married, and we weren't like, well, the interest rates are really high, so we're going to wait to buy a house. I mean,
the other thing is a starter home for our generation right now is a lot nicer than a starter home for our parents' generation.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. We're there, woo, this is fancy. It wasn't like our first house. And everybody deals with that with their parents. And that's what you want as a parent, right? Hopefully we go into our kids' starter house and be like, woo, that's a fancy countertop. We didn't have that. But that's just the way life is. But hopefully. But
and there's no starter homes to be found. That's the other issue.
Right.
That's part of the Great Recession, right? Is when you had the housing crisis, a lot of builders went out of business. And so when the market came back to something approaching normality, there weren't enough builders to meet demand. And they're like, you know what? If we're going to build houses, let's make our biggest margin possible. So you got a lot of high-end building, and the low and middle-end building never rebounded.
So we're doing all this, and I understand this. But what about love?
Yeah.
What about like Aerosmith? Don't want to close my eyes. Don't want to fall asleep because I miss you, baby. Like, what about just we're gonna spend our life together? I don't care if we're in an apartment. Like, bring out the
Living
cheesy
in our car.
80s song, "Lady in Red." Like, where's the romance? Where's the love of like, no. You're not getting off the hook. Some loser dude is gonna steal you. We're getting engaged. Like, where's the pursuit and the wanting to get married, right? I think we had this like, y'all need to wait to get married. This marriage is tough and all that stuff, which is all true. But it's like, now nobody's getting married. We scared them away from marriage. And they're like, do you love her? Yes. Would you do anything for her? Yes. Are you saving for a ring? No. We're not ready for that. Oh, okay. So more is needed. We got to wait for interest rates. I mean, it's ridiculous.
That Aerosmith song came out when I was a freshman in high school. Like,
Were you impressed by my singing? I think it was
Absolutely.
that cheese I had yesterday.
Yeah.
It improved my vocal cords.
Yeah, the first 30 seconds I really liked it, and then after that just
if you the one thing you never want to see is me into a karaoke party.
Oh.
Like if I'm just sit back, it's fine. But if I get into it, it's bad. And Mary Lisa's like, okay.
Note to
like,
self,
are divorce lawyers expensive? Like, how's that work?
Note to self, tell Dawn to book karaoke for the symposium this year.
We did it with the kids for a little party at our house, and I sang to Mary Lisa, "You've Lost That Loving Feeling" from Top Gun, and it was one of the glorious moments of my life. And she was
Excellent.
laughing the whole time. She was not into it.
With you or at you?
At me,
All
for
right.
sure. And I filmed it, and my best friend said, "You can live with me if she takes the kids and leaves you."
Fair. Harsh, but fair.
Thanks.
That song came out when I was a freshman, and your freshman is kind of like, oh, that's just sweet. It's a romantic song. And my mom heard it, and I'm sharing this because you knew my mom, and she's like, so he's just watching her sleep? That's kind of weird. That's
he's
creepy.
a
Like,
creep.
why would you make a song about it?
But I mean, what about if you're dating, what about the romantic part? What about when your girlfriend or wife is like, you look good today? Like, isn't there just the human part of, Biden caused a lot of inflation. You're like, but I want to get married.
Because the greatest 50th anniversary parties, It's never like, man, we had it made from day one. It was just smooth sailing. Like the struggle is the reward. The journey is the reward.
I had a college buddy who today is extremely successful and is a good dude. But we were having this conversation, and I was not yet engaged, and neither was he. And he said, yeah, he was from a very successful family, but he said, I'm not getting engaged until I have $250,000 cash in a money market account. Okay, and he was on the projection that was a very achievable goal soon after college. And I said, okay, yeah, that's cool. I said, so if you have 249 grand, you're not even gonna stay. And he's like, I knew you would have some smart aleck comment about, And I said, you know how stupid that is? You know how out of touch with like normal people you are? You have to have 250 grand in a money market. By the way, which is stupid. You should at least put some of it in the stock market. But if you're gonna have 250 grand in a money market account, it's like, I am now ready to commit. I was like, but if you had 150 or 50 grand or 5 grand or 247,000, like it's like, and so I just use that to mock him.
It also doesn't send a great message to the girl.
Heck no. I got to get $250,000 before I get with you. So it's just, no. I think that this is why I love what you said about Peter going to that college thing, which was recently about you got to ask a girl out and you got to take her out. Don't you want to impress her? Don't you want to? We can have goals, but I just think that it's kind of, you can also waste your 20s. And we know people that wasted their 20s professionally, but you can waste it in relationships. And I don't know, I think it's a good scare tactic. You're going to be single and 41 and like old and bald, and you're going to be on the dating scene looking for a wife. Like, you need to do it when you're 23.
It's that scene at the end of The Wedding Singer. You remember that? He's in the bar. He's like, I'm just going to be single. I'm going to be like the Fonz. And the guy's like, you know what happened to the Fonz? He got old.
He got old.
And this, I want to be careful here because this could sound really condescending to people who haven't found the right person.
Yes,
and
but that's the tragedy. That's because we know, which we're always trying to have some kind of matchmaker with our friends, but we know so many great, wonderful, holy 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds who just never found anyone. And that is a cross. That is I don't think they're called to be alone. I don't buy this like single life nonsense that sometimes is spouted out by the church. But they are, it is the fault of society because they're doing all the right things. Right. And they just ended up with no one. And and we also know people who were 42 years old and found somebody and then popped out 4 or 5 kids, and are the happiest days ahead. So, it's not that those people are depressed, but they were wanting to find a spouse. They feel called to marriage. They don't feel called to priesthood or religious life. And that to me, that just didn't exist in the 40s and 50s and 60s. We have those numbers of just there weren't this many single people.
Right.
Well, and I'd be curious what role sex before marriage plays into all of this, because 40s, 50s, and 60s,
You're getting to the core of it, which is contraception. Because, hey.
Yep.
If
it always comes back
sex
to that.
meant commitment and marriage, if I have sex with you and you can't get pregnant, well, Sally down the road's on contraception too. I guess I could have sex with her and not get her pregnant either. It's like, it's great for the bad men, right? And the contraceptive mentality is definitely part of this. It's the engine of it, of we can have sex without babies. Why in the world would we commit to one person when that's the world we live in? And it's an immature attitude, but it's obviously real and is dominant.
Well, it reminds me of the old saying, like, why buy the cow if you can get the milk for free?
It's what your grandma said. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. So shacking up. They're all shacking up. Mm-hmm. That was the thing. And we're paying for that. And we're paying for it by loading this burden on generations after us. Because I'll take Bill Maher, okay, who I like and I think is funny and I think it is all that. But if he and I had a real like big boy conversation, I would just be like, look, you showed up, you had success, you had money, you wanted to sleep with everything that walked past you, you didn't want any responsibility, you soaked all the crops off the farm and you left no workers. Mm-hmm. On a very atheistic, practical level of civilization, you just showed up to the party, had your fun, drank our beer, ate our food, and you didn't offer to do the dishes, you didn't do anything, and you insulted everybody else who had children. And by the way, you're welcome for your Social Security. Huh. So there is a cynical part that we can have that is 100% accurate, which is you just were a pleasure-seeking animal that wanted zero responsibility whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And if it didn't give you any pleasure, you didn't want anything to do with it. And love requires pain and sacrifice, and commitment requires pain and sacrifice. And if you don't want that, and you just want to be single and wealthy, that's what you get. But we can call you out for it. And I do think there needs to be, for the people that are advocating, like, I did an interview this morning, actually, before we came in to record. The New York Post had an article out the day that we're recording this on more and more restaurants are having policies with no children. Now, look, I'm a big, if you're going to a nice dinner, don't be taking your 3-year-old, right? There's an etiquette there of just know where you're taking kids. And yet, some of my most proud moments are when we're at a restaurant, not fine dining, but just a normal restaurant, and multiple people come up and just say how well behaved the kids are, or how beautiful your family is, and those are great. It's also a public witness, which is why like the kids can't have their hair everywhere and like be acting crazy, and so but for the restaurants, we could just get rid of all the children. And never have to deal with any kid, even in McDonald's. Get rid of the Happy Meals, tear the playgrounds down, and we'll just have an adult-only society.
McDonald's is the most depressing place in the world right now. If you walked in, it's all like gray and brown and beige. There's no playland. There's no color. There's no human beings. Just go talk to your robot and get your slop on your tray.
There's no grimace.
It's an American institution, so I'm going to have to defend it a little bit. I don't eat McDonald's, but like when I
walk into one and you will be depressed.
We have a new one by our house, and it smells amazing when you go in there.
The color scheme, though, will make
I don't know why they're doing that. I noticed, like, when we were growing up, McDonald's, like, they had red and yellow and, the purple guy.
Because they're not made for kids anymore. Now they're childless adults, and, like, where'd Pizza Hut go? Pizza Hut used to be cool. Now it's weird.
Now it's weird. Can you imagine Steve walking up to the counter today in McDonald's and reprimanding all the people for tearing down the playground, and they're like, this guy's a creep. This place used to be a place for kids. Now it's just for adults. I'll have a number one and a milkshake.
I'm going to drive out with my whip.
That's right. And you work there, so this is personal for you because you're like, when I was here, when I was running this place, it was special.
Yeah.
There was still a ball pit.
Not at mine, no.
So the McDonald's by our house, I go there frequently to buy ice. They sell 10-pound bags of ice for $1.
What?
So we have people over. We always need more ice. And so, of course, what they want is they want you to grab some fries or a Diet Dr. Pepper or whatever. And so, but you go through the drive-thru and I buy like 3 or 4 10-pound bags of ice for $3 or $4. And so that's why I don't appreciate you insulting McDonald's. But the other day I was there and I saw the double cheeseburger, which was the classic dollar menu item. Spicy chicken sandwich, double cheeseburger, $1 for us for a long, long time. It's $3 now. I mean, I understand if it's like
Lyman Stone agrees with you. This is why people aren't getting married.
It's $1.80. I could be like, okay, a bean burrito at Taco Bell is $1.99. That used to be 79 cents.
I mean, remember
God bless the 90s. I will defend it. I don't care if I sound like an
I
old
remember
man.
69 cents.
The 69 cents. That was the soft taco.
Well,
and the regular taco was 49 cents.
I do remember that.
Do you remember the Subway $5 footlong?
Oh yeah.
And now they're like $13.49.
$13.49.
Mercy.
Yeah.
Okay, so we covered economics. We got a lot of other theories here. One of them is, quote, girl boss messaging. And this is something that we get from journalist Lisa Britton, no relation to our own Matt Britton. She said basically the message that young women are getting from media, both social media and traditional media, is, quote, independence is everything, men are optional, and marriage and motherhood can be postponed indefinitely. And she says this is true for what she calls high status women. If you're a woman with a 6-figure salary and a network of high achieving friends and perhaps family wealth to fall back on, you can kind of experiment with this, like, I don't need a man type of idea and still land on your feet. But that's just not the reality for most people. We're made for each other. Men and women exist for each other. And the majority of people can't just kind of go through life alone and expect to turn out prosperously.
If I were a Muslim terrorist, I would wire her like 250 grand with a note that said, "You're doing a great job. Keep it up." This is just perfect. And this is when, the whole Ben Shapiro got pushed on this question on the population. And basically, isn't it inevitable that the Muslims take over America like they've done Europe, just based on birth rate? Which is happening. And people don't like to hear that. But that's happening. Or they rant about it happening, but they're also on contraception. And he made a good point. He said that when you look at different places, there's always a rebound among very conservative Jews and Catholics. I thought that was interesting. And he said even those small populations can sort of save a country, and he named a lot of examples. But it was a surprising answer because it was a hopeful one that eventually, and I've said this before, when I was in Catholic high school, I knew one family with 5 kids. Everybody else didn't have, and now I know 30 or 40 families with.
The 5 was the max?
5 was the max. Now I know 30 or 40 families who have at least 6, right? And it's easy to make fun of big families, and I'm a big supporter of that because it's comical in a lot of ways. But there's also a demographic reality to that of we have more people now having more kids. That's for sure, if you just look around. Because the death of the big family was basically the late 80s. Yeah. And it's had a revival. And I like what some of these states are doing with school vouchers and supporting homeschool, parents. And there's a lot of incentives around fertility. But this lady's a psychopath.
She's on our side. She's describing it, but not endorsing it.
I know what she said. I know it's like not her. It's the ideology. But what her combating it is like, it's unfortunately accurate. Yeah. Of what she's reporting. And that's just, it's not sustainable.
She describes the girl boss message as a luxury belief, and if you're self-sufficient, great. But as women without college degrees, it used to be 1 in 5 women had a college degree. I'm not sure what year this was, and now the majority of women, or about 50-50, have college degrees. And she says, without the buffer of elite credentials, the girl boss anti-family ideology leaves women more vulnerable, not less, and essentially describes women as victims of a feminist ideology. So they just don't have the resources to be able to pull off I'm going to be single and successful if you're not successful.
Well, I think that we're seeing this grow in popularity too.
The girl boss messaging or the rejection of it?
The rejection of it. And there's extremes like the trad wife stuff and all those trending things that you see, and that can be annoying in its own way. But I do think you see this at a minimal level questioning this. Do I want to be single and like be a lawyer at 35 and and just I think having career and goals. I think the workplace has changed too to be more pro-family, so women can work. And they could either work from home if their kids are small. There's flexible schedules, or they can. You see a lot of women work and then take 6 to 8 years off if they're able to, raise their kids, stay at home a little bit, go back to work. Those things are much more acceptable now in a lot of professions. I don't know if we've ever had a nurse in our labor and delivery who either didn't have kids of her own or took time off and was now older and back to nursing. I mean, there are definitely ways to do it.
The challenge. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I think my concern with the girl boss messaging is that, like, from the perspective of a woman, my concern is how many women are embracing this ideology, though it contradicts everything within them that is screaming, "This is not what I want."
Sure.
But they're embracing it because they think that if they don't embrace it, that they're somehow betraying themselves as women.
Or they're weak.
Yeah. And that's what breaks my heart, because I think that there are women who truly do not want marriage, truly do not want children, but I think that those are the exceptions. I just don't believe that that's the norm.
it's showing that it's not. It's showing that you.
And so it makes me sad because I think about these women who are like embracing this idea because they think, if I don't want this, then something's wrong with me.
Right.
If I do want marriage and I do want family, then maybe something's wrong with me.
And it's not just an implicit pressure, I don't think. I think there's explicit pressure. Because I know we've showed up to family reunions and like people will say things that aren't confrontational, but people say things that, so you're just like home with the kids, you're not doing anything. Like I don't know if I'd say she's not doing anything.
Yep. or even like I have, like even from family who will joke about how many children I have.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't even really have that many kids, Like when I think about it, I'm like, compared to like my grandmother who was like one of 16.
Sure.
I don't have that many kids at all.
Right.
But yet it's like, oh my gosh, you have all these children. And I'm like, okay, and your point is?
I think and this is hard for younger families because we definitely at our church have like 30-year-old versions of ourselves. Like you see the people with the 4 or 5 little kids and and I think that was harder. The older I got, the more compliments we got of your family's beautiful. It's great. You have all these kids. When I was younger, I got a lot of just dumb, and I guess because I was young, I looked young, but when you're 27 or 28 and have 3 or 4 kids, they're just like, what are you doing? They feel that they can tell you that. Maybe it's different at 40. But when we started having kids, we got 1 billion comments. And now I would say it's all positive. I think the last time somebody said something to Mary Lisa, like in the grocery store, was 5 or 6 years ago.
The stigma has been broken, I think, because I'll say Laura has led a Bible study at church for a number of years. And she said early on when she was kind of like the young mom leading the Bible study, having 5 kids or having more kids or whatever, it was having kids in close succession. That was still kind of countercultural. People were nervous about it. Even people in the church were kind of iffy about it. And now she's, just in her own words, the old mom leading the Bible study. She's like, these Gen Z women, like if they're in the church, they're just having kids and they don't question it. It's just part of life, like it was for all of human history until 60 years ago.
Yeah. And it gives so much responsibility and focus when you're in your 20s and have kids. I absolutely loved it. There was no pause where I was like, oh my gosh, I have, it's probably harder now for us because we have so many, like the schedules are all spread out. But the in your 20s having, and we wanted to have baby after baby after baby.
And you have the energy for it too.
You have the energy for it. That's what you realize.
I had my last at 40, and
Mary Lisa
I'm
did
so
too.
tired.
She gave birth to Timothy, who obviously is on the trade block right now for the Packer tickets. But she gave birth to Timothy, and she looked at me, and she's never made a comment like this. She's like, I'm not 24 anymore, and so, but that's just the way it is. And so I gave her the Tom Brady speech that she's like Tom Brady. She's coming back and winning, and so, which I think actually worked. She was laughing. Okay. We talked about the time. Go into this safetyism.
Yes, we've got a couple of generations now who I think are safety obsessed.
Yes.
I'm going to try not to discuss COVID.
Is this part of our health and wellness obsession also?
Maybe.
How much protein is too much protein?
Yeah.
We're not getting enough protein.
Good carbs, bad carbs. Yeah.
Daniel Cox for the Institute for Family Studies says, for many young adults, marriage and parenthood are inherently risky choices. A generation raised to act cautiously, to prioritize their own personal development, and to question traditional social arrangements is also primed to question the value of marriage and raising a family. And I've got another quote here from Aliyah Rose Ginevra. She said, Gen Z is generally risk averse. Studies demonstrate that we are getting our driver's licenses later in life and that we aren't engaging in risky behaviors as much as our predecessors. I believe that this aversion to risk will seep into Gen Z delaying or outright avoiding saying I do.
So
says the generation covered in tattoos.
I know. So when I was jumping in the back of like my buddy who was 15, we were getting in his truck and driving around Tyler like at 10:30 at night on a Saturday. Are they saying that was dangerous? That That was just living. Oh my god.
That was good country living.
That was good country living.
Good
Yeah,
country
it is.
living.
It is funny. Well, some of it is. Maybe it is the scare tactic thing. And all of my kids were dying to drive, and I have to teach Bernadette to drive starting this week. But they all wanted to do that, but a lot of their friends didn't. And is that because the news, is everything so bad that they hear on their Twitter feed that they are a little scared of life? It hasn't prevented them from going to college.
It's a big part of it. I think a lot of it is the ultimate safety device is your screen. Like, you don't want to leave your screen to go do something in real life. You do something in real life, someone might get a photo or a video of you, and then you look dumb. There's a lot of social and actual. There's like a great book called The Anxious Generation, and it ties in a lot of this safetyism to the development of smartphones. And now suddenly, maybe like how many people are kidnapped in the windowless van? Not many, but if it happens, like you said, you're hearing about it. It's everywhere, and now you've got the like, watch out because people are roaming the grocery stores, nabbing kids, and it's not really a real thing.
One thing that gives me hope is Gen Z loves our man, Tom Cruise, who takes everything safety and throws it out the window and
Does
says,
his own stunts.
I'm going to hang off of the plane. And like all the young, there's a great footage of him talking to all these like 14-year-olds who are going to see the last Mission Impossible. And there's this fascination with like, you're 60 years old and you're driving a motorcycle and hanging off airplanes and doing all this cool stuff. And so maybe that's a little bit of hope of for Gen Z.
I saw a clip that was circulating on the internet, and I wish that I had gone back to like look for the original podcast. There was a Gen Z guy they were discussing this. They were discussing about dating and what it's like for Gen Z and why they aren't, in relationships, why they're not getting married. And he was just kind of going on about technology and how that is a big thing, and how, he said, you go to a club or you go to a bar, people don't dance anymore. People don't, ask someone to dance. No one wants to be out in public doing anything because everything goes online, and the humiliation involved with doing things like that. Because there's just always this idea that regardless of what it is that you're doing, someone's going to take out their phone and they're going to record you. And so he was kind of attributing to, like there's a decline in the number of people dating because there's an impact that technology has had.
These risks are not spread evenly either, right? Like my son Peter, like if he gets videoed dancing dumb, he'd be like, hold on, I can dance way dumber than that. And you just kind of lean into it. But I know not all my kids are going to have that ability.
No.
Right. It is personality driven, and people being afraid of that certainly hasn't deterred you from dancing at the symposium.
Right.
With his iPhones everywhere, and he's like, turn the lights up and enjoy the show.
Or like I was at a concert recently, and the usher was like, "Ma'am, you have to sit down. You can't be in the stairs blocking."
I want to see that footage.
And my husband was like, "I can't take her anywhere."
Ramona's out of control dancing at a concert. This is the best moment of my life.
And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm on, like TikTok somewhere, and I really don't care.
Who
I'm living my
cares?
life.
Who
I'm
cares?
living my life.
Okay, Allison Raskin in Cosmopolitan. This is a knock on the boomers. Many millennials grew up witnessing their parents duke it out either in the court system, at home, or both. It's understandable that this type of environment would create an aversion to legally tying yourself to another person. This is going after the baby boomer divorce rate, which is significant when you look at the time period. World War II generation just didn't get divorced. It was just whatever. They just didn't do it. And then it just started this tidal wave.
But then you also had a boom of teen pregnancy in the 90s. I was one of them that contributed to that. So I think that because my oldest daughter is like, oh, Mom, you're not thinking about Gen X and how responsible you guys are as well for all of us millennials who don't want to get married. There was a lot of teen pregnancy during the 90s. It was at an all-time high.
Led to a lot of messaging that getting pregnant was the worst thing that could happen to you, and people are having a hard time turning that switch once it becomes the right time and season in life.
So I imagine a lot of those kids who grow up in the broken homes, not just the ones who experienced divorce from the boomers, but those who grew up in single-parent homes from the Gen Xers.
Yeah, that's a really good point. No. It's so easy to blame the previous generation. And we've also shown compassion on the boomers because they grew up in an insane time period in our country. But I think that's the lady at Cosmo. That's real. Of just going through divorce or seeing your parents.
We covered that when we did the podcast where we were looking at surveys about Americans' attitudes on different moral issues. Remember, we covered abortion and gay marriage and marijuana and gambling. And younger Americans, if you're under 50, you're much more likely to say divorce was immoral because you're much more likely to have experienced it in your parents' marriages.
Okay, the psychologist Andrea Gurney said, the more options we have, the more we fear making the wrong choice, which raises our expectations to an impossible level. That's very brilliant.
So you get the dating apps, and it seems like there's an unlimited pool of people, so you start looking for the perfect one. And there's a quote here that we have where this woman said, he's good-looking, athletic, and loves the outdoors, one woman said of a man she was about to see for a third date. But then he wore socks with his Birks. I got the ick. Man, if dressing bad was an impediment to marriage, I never would have been able to get married ever.
I'm 45% on her side. I mean, it's the third date. But what her deal is, I may or may not have had a dress code problem on our third date. But that's when Mary Lisa started to speak up because she saw the seriousness of it. She liked me so much that she was like, you can't wear that shirt. To this day, I defend those John Ashford like green polo. It had stripes. I thought I'd look great actually, but she's like, the shirt's got to go, and you can't tuck them into the shorts. It was 2001. Of course, you tuck them into the shorts. Anyways, I still defend myself, but the girl that enhances your relationship of like, dude, like you're a good looking guy. You can't wear those shoes with those jeans or whatever. And if they just say, I got the ick, I'm out. Okay. He can change clothes, right?
Yeah.
As you're putting yourself forward as a witness that this can be overcome.
No, I mean, I've said on the podcast before, one time I was like, does this shirt look kind of gay? And Laura said, don't worry, you don't care enough about your appearance for anyone to mistake you.
They're not going to be like, what's with Steve? This is out of nowhere.
And then I had a shirt which I wanted to get rid of, and she's like, no, don't. I like that shirt. I was like, it looks kind of gay. She's like, that's why your dad got rid of it, but I think you should keep it.
Bad quotes.
Have either of you seen the movie The Materialists?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Did you like the messaging on that?
I
did too, and I was actually surprised
Me
because
too.
I didn't think that's the direction it was going to go.
And that is a recent,
Yes.
extremely popular movie in the culture. And no, I watched it with my oldest daughters and loved it.
But I think it's a perfect depiction of this.
Yep.
You're like, oh, he wore socks with his Birks. I'm out. Oh, he's not 6'3" or whatever. Like, I'm out.
And her whole point was like, he likes you. And so he doesn't, so he's not 6'3", he's 6'1" or whatever.
Well, but at the end,
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm like.
But The Materialist is good.
Yeah.
I thought it was a very good message, and it definitely dives in to this trend of particularly New Yorker 20-somethings that are like, is this all there is in life? I'm successful in college and my career, and I just like go in this cycle. I can't meet anybody. So
There's something sweet about imperfection here, and when you fall in love with someone who's imperfect, which we all are, there's something sweet and vulnerable and wonderful about that I think is kind of lost in the social media culture where everything has to be made for Instagram. And I think back to like when Laura and I got engaged, it wasn't a particularly impressive proposal. I was awkward and nervous. She, I think, forgot to say yes because she was laughing. She was happy, but she was laughing. And then we went back and had dinner on like a card table and folding chairs. Like none of this would have been worthy to post on social media. And I'm so glad we didn't have it.
yeah, same. That's a very good point of everything has to be so pristine and perfect.
And it's all curated too.
Right.
Yeah.
And why can't the person you like or love say something dumb or wear a bad outfit?
I do those things every day.
And I dig that about you. But yeah, it's just real. And by the way, which last weekend, Mary Lisa was sick all weekend. Like, people are going to get sick. Things are going to happen. You're going to say dumb stuff. You're going to forget to go to the store. You're going to forget when the kid's soccer game is. Like, these imperfections are what make it worth it. And my gosh, can you imagine?
Love is a choice.
Huh?
Sean. Love is a choice.
Yeah.
And people choose I don't know what they're choosing, but they're not choosing love.
In this abortion pro-life conversation, there's been a lot of talk about, like, particularly with IVF, of kind of designer babies and children as a commodity or as an accessory or those sorts of things. And I think what we're seeing here is people are looking at their spouses or potential spouses or partners or whatever you want to call it in the same way. It's not someone that you are going to give yourself to and who is going to give themselves to you. It is a like accessory to the rest of life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know there's somebody going, so what, is everybody supposed to get married at 22 and have 10 kids? No. But they should be seeking to get married in their 20s. I have no problem saying that. That is a normal thing to do. What we have done the last 25 years is abnormal, and we're suffering for it today. And so, one of the last points we have as we wrap up is that just barely delaying marriage speeds up the fertility crisis. And wanting to be in love and spend the rest of your life with somebody is natural. And wanting children is natural. And so this isn't everybody has to go out. And by the way, we didn't operate like that. Not everybody was like, you only have 2 kids, shame on you. We just got married and had kids, and then now we are in a fertility crisis. So I do think people will be paying more attention and keeping count. I mean, we're in the hole now. We weren't always. Now we're in this, demographic winter, and people go to Chicago O'Hare Airport and they're like, what are you talking about? It's crowded. There's too many people. And that's not the way it works. It is much.
There may be a lot of adults.
Yeah.
But you don't see a lot of children.
Right. And this is when the boomers are starting to die. But as we see the boomers, who were a huge generation as far as population, in 10 years, 20 years, when they're gone, that's everybody, all these politicians talk about it. That's the Social Security crisis. Mm-hmm. And that's we just don't have enough people.
The delay factor is real. If a woman is 30 and doesn't have a child, it's only 50-50 she will ever have a child. So there's this whole idea of like, well, you wait, you have time, build your brand, build your career. But if it's 30 and you don't have one, 50-50 proposition.
That's unbelievable.
I know we got to wrap up here, but there's a couple of things I think are important to cover. Parental pressure not to marry. You've got your whole life ahead of you. 88% of parents say that it is important that their kids have careers they enjoy. 20% say it's very important that their children grow up, get married, and have children.
Okay, not to beat a dead horse, those are the boomer parents, though, I'm assuming. I guess now
all those surveyed.
I would say it's also the Gen X.
Gen X. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who's not saying that, really? I think that's pretty universal right now.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, that's kind of a mentality of you want your kid to have a career they enjoy. Yeah, it's funny because I want my kids to find somebody that they really love, And I know we're aliens in that, but that's what we had. Like, my college was great. I dated Mary Lisa. It was a blast. Mm-hmm. Like, I had other friends, and I keep in touch with some of them, but it was awesome, Yeah. And I think that.
Why not both?
It
right?
is
like,
both.
Why not both?
It's the mentality you talked about, that we created this either or, and it's so dumb.
Like, you can be in your 20s and go to college and be in love and be married and still have your career, and then put it on hold and come back to it. And
you can go to medical school.
They act like that everything has to be in this order or your life is a failure. And I feel like my life just barely started, because I got married late. I would have liked to have gotten married sooner.
How old were you when
I
you
was
got married?
28 when we got married.
Right, but now that's
and then
that's
of course
not late.
my fertility clock was ticking.
Right.
But that wasn't by choice. That was by circumstances.
Right.
And then God blessed us miraculously with the children that we had after we got married, which, because I was older, my doctor would say I was a geriatric pregnancy. Geriatric. Grandma was coming in with a cane to the OB appointments. But I've told this to my kids. I'm like, I'm doing what I love right now, and still have the best of both worlds. Like, I have my family life, and I get to do this, and why are we setting limitations on that? I'm not dead. I'm not in the ground.
No.
I'm living life, and I'm enjoying it with my family and my children. So I just don't get this mentality of do all of this before this, and when you're young, and be married, have family. It's okay. It's going to be all right.
capstone we can put on this maybe is a quote from Lisa Britton, the journalist we quoted before. She said, "They lied when they said fertility is a light switch you can flip at 35. They lied when they told us egg freezing was a reasonable plan B instead of an expensive, low-success Hail Mary. They lied when they painted motherhood as the thing that would limit us instead of the thing that would give us purpose deeper than any title or expensive handbag."
Boom. It's great. It's great. And as you pointed out, sometimes you can have both. You know, you can have a career, you can have children. And by the way, it's easier to do that now than ever before. Okay, this was great. Really appreciate all the feedback. If you want to email us any of your thoughts, email us at podcast@40daysforlife.com, podcast@40daysforlife.com. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe and hit the bell so that you get the notification, because you will get the podcast one day earlier than just the audio listeners. So your life will be that much better one day earlier. And be sure to spread the word if you have time, which all of you do, to try to get Steve and I Packer tickets to the Cowboys game sometime in October. I don't know. It's on a Sunday. That's right. So we're making that pathetic plea to you, our wonderful listeners. So thank you for listening, and we will see you next time. God bless you.